Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
Good, dude. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for joining me this morning or evening for you.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm kind of jealous.
So, why is that?
Oh man, I miss Okinawa, man. I miss it.
Yeah,
The greatest time I ever had.
dude. It's pretty awesome here. Honestly, I really have been enjoying it. Um, Learning how to dive, learning how to uh, get better in the ocean, snorkeling, going out there every day.
Okay,
Um, it's great, dude. It's great. And the outdoors, like going up to the jungle in the north and going and seeing all the memorials and war sites, and we've just been having a really good time.
nice, nice. Have you you've gone to like Naha, right? No, I mean sorry, is
Yep,
it not? Was it Naha, Naho? The one that's further south.
the south one is Naha. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So like, oh man, I'm just thinking about it right now. I was like, I'm thinking about because I lived on Kadena and I worked on Tory Station. So some of my guys that I know that I served with are there, and now they're there in the high position. Now they're the sergeant majors, they're the master sergeants, and not the sergeant, staff sergeant guys.
yeah. The So I thought of you when I first got here because I remember when we met, you telling me about how you were stationed in Okinawa uh, and how you were having a good time out there. And you post on Facebook sometimes some throwback pictures to you and the guys out here. And I've been down to Tory Station is really a nice base because right
Hmm.
there they have the beach, and the beach has like a
Yeah.
park, a pool with like water slides, cabanas you can rent out. You can go right into the ocean right there. I have seen they do have a lot of signs about jellyfish out there. I don't know if
Oh
that's
yeah. Yep.
okay.
I remember that the man of wars and other jellyfish. I remember seeing those signs all over the place, especially during as it gets warmer. Like now, definitely have to watch out for them if you're going diving.
Okay. So so for people who are going to be listening to kind of catch them up on who you are and how we know each other. Um, so you are Ricky Barksdale,
Hmm.
and you are an Army veteran, and you're living in New York, New York City. Is that still true?
Yes.
Yep. And we met in San Diego because a mutual friend of ours who's been on the Scuttlebutt show, Jason Falasco, was filming his spec trailer for PTSD, and
Hmm.
uh, and you were acting in it, and it turned out great. And I was lucky enough to kind of go along and hang out with you guys there and
Yeah.
help out where I could. Where I got to play a little role in there as basically a sexual predator, which was interesting to to get cast in to do that. So, um, and, and now you're working as a Hollywood stuntman
Yes.
and actor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I actually started off in the business wanting to do acting. I did background acting for a few years, just something to do, and it gave me an idea of how things are run behind the scenes. And then after that, I wanted to do more acting, and then I realized like the schools that you got to go through, the seminars, things, et cetera, et cetera. And then stunts actually happened by accident. I had no intentions on being a stunt performer. One day, a guy that I trained with at a karate school said, "Hey, Rick, we're doing a fight scene. You want to be a part of it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And the rest is history. That's like it was that day. Like, I want to know how to do this, and been doing it ever since.
So, when were you in the army? What years was that?
I was in the army from 2005, October 2005. No, I'm sorry, September 2005 till August of 2013.
Okay, so that's a pretty good stint. It's a pretty decent time.
Hmm. Yes.
And was Okinawa the only place you were stationed?
No, my first duty station was Fort Irwin, California, NTC, National Training Center. That's where all branches of the military they go for their desert training, whether it be they're going to be training for Iraq or training for Afghanistan. That's where they go. It's more so a tanker water unit, So it's not the traditional. We got the striker brigades and regular infantry. We had our infantry, but it was more of a tank unit than anything.
Okay. And then, and so you were in Okinawa, and that looks like you were having a good time out here because you were working with the ODA guys, the Green Berets out here.
Yes. Oh man, I've got nothing but positive things about Okinawa. Even with the bad things, it's like 99.9% of it was just amazing. You know, like I'm still in contact with a lot of these guys today, and some of them have retired. Like Okinawa as a whole, I can honestly say that was my best military career. Like it was something about that window between I arrived there in the middle of 2007 and I left 2010. It's something about that window of all of us being together that we all remember being the greatest time of our lives. Every guy, like from the sergeant major to the specialist, like everybody that goes there remembers nothing but great memories of being in Okinawa, especially with First Special Forces Group.
That's I love it when that happens, when the right people get to the same place at the right time, where everyone's lives are in the right place, where you can kind of mesh. You know, like when people are the right ages, in the right state of mind, uh, doing the right mission. It's really that's magical. That's a
Yeah,
magical time for sure.
yeah. It was
And
new for me. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh no, good.
Well, it was new for me because I came from a regular unit, so I didn't know what to expect. You always hear all the good stuff about them, but you really never know. And then when I got there, I was like, wow, everything is the complete opposite of regular army. And I always said, if I ever back into the military, I am not going anywhere that is not a soft unit. It's night and day. It's like high school is regular army, and then you got Ivy League school, which is working with Green Berets.
Yeah, I agree. I did so out of I was in the Navy for almost 14 years, and the last 6 years that I was active duty, I was with Naval Special Warfare, and then I worked for them for 3 years as a contractor. And I always said if I had to go back to conventional Navy, I'd probably just get out because it would be too tough of a transition back after having
Yeah,
this experience to go back to that. It'd be a real challenge.
yeah.
Uh, it definitely spoils you for sure. So
You can,
is oh so I know you have a martial arts background.
yes.
Um, is that something that started in the military? Or was that before the military?
Um, it was a little bit before the military. I just kind of like dabbled around in it. But when I really wanted to take it serious, that was during my time in Okinawa.
And where did you train? Did you
I like to
train on
train
base
Kyokushin.
or?
Oh, okay. There's a little bit of a delay. Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, yeah.
I started training on base boxing. That's where I first learned actually how to really box. And then I wanted to train in Kyokushin karate, but at that time, a lot of the dojos weren't letting Americans in because sometimes the American troops would get a little rowdy and like they get this little guy whipping the hell out of them, and now they're not they're getting more serious. So they actually had no Americans, and then I found this place um, at the end of my career of being in Okinawa. I say like the last year that I was there, I found this place and I loved it. He's still there right now. Let me find his information, give him a nice little plug.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. My wife and I were talking about going to find a spot to do some training out here.
Yeah, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He is a wonderful capoeira instructor. He's been living in Okinawa. He was in the army and he was a captain and he got out and he's been in Okinawa for the last 20 years now.
I'm surprised at the number of expats I've met out here who, in a lot of cases they met somebody and got married out here, started a family, but who just stayed in Okinawa for 20, 30, 40 years
Yeah.
after they got out here. I've met quite like maybe 24 people like that. And I was pretty surprised. And I know there's a lot more too. And there's a lot of British and Australian guys out and gals out here too.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a lot of what kind of shocked me when I went to Roppongi, which is the mainland. We was playing against the Air Force. We were the football team that the unit created. And we was at Roppongi. I found it really interesting to see that there was a lot of Middle Eastern and a lot of British guys in that particular area. I was like, it's like I would have never thought like this is where they want to settle, but it was really nice, Like I still got some friends that are out there, like they got the military, but they were married to a Japanese national, and they got their green card living out there, and I don't
Yep.
blame them. If the opportunity came, I would definitely go back. Here,
Oh yeah,
oh, here
for
it
sure.
is. So his martial arts school is Morier Martial Arts Academy. It's not too far off of Kadena Air Base. Here,
Can you say it
I
again?
can actually send it to you right. Uh, Probably saying Morinier, Morinier Martial Arts
Okay.
Academy. I'm actually going to send you the info, the link on Facebook.
Okay, cool. And I'll share it via this uh, podcast and YouTube and on the Scuttlebutt Show channel as well. Because I know there's a lot of people out here who are into getting into martial arts or who have got transferred over here and are looking for somewhere to train. And there are a bunch of places, but you don't always know which one to go to and who to use.
Yeah,
So a recommendation goes a long way.
yeah, I highly recommend him. He's legit. He knows his stuff. He's produced quite a few champions, like for active duty military personnel. And you remember how it is. We don't really have all that time, to
Hmm.
really train like we want. But he always made the best. And, he's produced a lot of middleweight and a couple of champions, like in the local circuit.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Um, my martial arts background is Army combatives. I think it's like level 1 and level 2, right?
Yes.
So you got Army combatives, and then I did some Krav Maga training
Okay.
on my own because I always thought uh, if there was any martial art to learn for self defense, it was Krav Maga, because it's not about it's not first of all it's not about fighting fair. It's about fighting
Hmm.
to save your life.
I
Um,
agree. I
which
agree.
which if you're out walking around and you get attacked, I don't care about the rules of engagement. I'll kick you in the balls and gouge your eyes out and bite you and then run away. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If I'm about to if somebody's going to kill you, you want to survive and you want to survive a confrontation.
Yep.
Um, so I've done I've done some Krav Maga and then Army combatives. Uh, but it'd be cool to get into some jujitsu out here because I do appreciate and understand the value of training martial arts, especially jujitsu.
Yes.
Um, and I have a lot of time on my hands out here because now I'm a male dependent. I'm a military spouse, so I have I have time to go check things out, and I've been
Tables have
trying to do that around Okinawa.
turned.
Yeah.
The tables have turned for us.
Yep. Yep. Women are women want to take the reins and get in the workplace, and I'm all about it. Go get out there.
Hey,
Go
look,
do
I
go
got
do
your back,
work.
baby.
Yeah, I'll be supporting here.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. So now that you mentioned jujitsu, I've been training in Brazilian jiu-jitsu for a little over a year now. And I've done a lot of hard things in my, but Brazilian jiu-jitsu is one of the hardest things I've ever done. And you know how they say in the fight, size matters. That art, size really doesn't matter. Like, no, you see how big you are, right? There are
yep.
girls that are smaller than me, height, size. I'm physically more dominant than them, but they use their agility, they use their flexibility, they use the angles, and each time, like, they're making me tap either an armbar or a choke, and I'm not letting them get this. I'm really working to, impose my will, but skill levels, like there are levels to this. Like you can take somebody that's been like a mid belt in karate, right, and put him up against a black belt. He has an opportunity, but in jujitsu, no. If you're a white belt and you go against a blue belt, you're gonna get folded up every time. Yes, you will get better, but you're gonna get folded up. And I think jujitsu is the best self defense, especially for women. Like without a doubt, I am like people might say I'm biased, but I'm proud to admit I am biased. I think Brazilian Jiu Jitsu I think it should be mandatory that they take the self-defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it's true. If you are totally a novice and you go up against somebody who's trained in jiu-jitsu, that they're gonna have the advantage and beat you every time because they just know things that you would never even think. Like you would never predict what they're gonna do. And while a lot of people have been choked out, like even if you're just a kid, when I was a kid, we would choke each other out all the time.
Yeah.
It was we were like wrestling all the time, but you've probably never been in an arm bar unless you've done some kind of martial arts. And
Yep.
and the first time that happens to you, you're like, oh, my arm's going to break. And like, it takes nothing. It takes very little to snap an arm in a good arm bar. And then you realize that, and you don't even know, if you don't have any training, you would never even know that that's about to happen to you. You would have no clue what to look for. So if somebody knows that and you don't know anything, they're just going to get you in an arm bar, break your ankle or break your arm, and you won't even know what just happened. That's a real thing. That is a real thing for sure.
It happened to me in training. The girl that I was grappling with, 115 pounds max on a good day. 115 pounds. She's about 5'2". I'm 6'4". We're rolling with training, and what I did was just make a slight mistake. I just extended my arm to push her off, trying to use my power, and she just wrapped her entire body around my arm and almost broke my arm. Like I didn't even have enough time to tell. That's how fast. Like she got a hold of my arm and had me down, and it's like I was like.
Yep, I remember. I remember learning arm bars in Krav Maga, and when you have somebody in an arm bar, but let's say you don't have it quite dialed in. You learn, okay, well, you can at least kick them in the face, while you're over there on your side. And I'm like, man, as you learn stuff like that, you realize if this was happening to you and you didn't know what was going on, you would just get demolished. You would have no chance. You would get destroyed in 2 seconds every time.
Exactly.
And if you didn't train and learn that muscle memory, you wouldn't come up with that stuff in the moment either. It's not like you would just figure that out in a high adrenaline situation. One of the things I always say, like these mottos that I live my life by, is when shit hits the fan, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall back on your training. So if you don't practice, it's not like you're just gonna you figure it out and have a hero moment. You're probably gonna get your ass kicked. But if you train and practice and do it repetitions, and this goes for anything, you do repetitions over and over again. Like I'm sure with stunt work, you do falls over and over and over, and you rehearse the scene over and over and over again. It's not like you're going to go without training, without practice in the moment, figure it out and nail it first try. It's thousands of repetitions to get there.
Exactly, and it really is the cliche saying of practice makes perfect.
Yep.
If you take somebody off the street, like you said, who's never done it, they're gonna hit panic mode because they've never been in a compromising situation. Now, the person that they're training with is not out to hurt them; it's to help them. But for someone who's never been in a physical conflict, especially where it involves another human being either on top of you or squeezing you, you know, I think that's where the mental strength comes in because now they have something to rely on, like you said. So they like if they do end up in a conflict on the street, they're gonna okay, I've been here before in practice. I know what to do. My body knows how to react to XYZ that's about to come. So
Mm-hmm.
I think self-defense is very important for everybody.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so that's a good plug for jiu-jitsu and martial arts, and I hope people, if they've been, I'll tell you, just from my personal experience, I'm not a well-trained martial artist by any means. I've done some training, I've done it in the military, and I do like it, and I do respect it a lot. But if you've never done it and you've been thinking about doing it, I definitely say go out and go find a class and do a couple classes and see what you think. There's a lot of value to it, not just learning martial arts, but physical fitness, mental fitness, making new friendships, and just having something to do to go get out there and be active.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you get out of the Army in
hmm
2013, right? So what was
Yeah.
that like? What was getting out of the army like?
In some ways, I was a little bit excited because I'm coming back home. I'm coming back to New York. I get to see my family, my friends again. Um, it took me a while to adjust back to the regular life. Not having to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, do PT, because wake up active duty personnel. No, when you wake up, you know what your day is going to be. When I got out, it was like, oh man, now what? I already applied for jobs, so I was just waiting for them to call me back. But in between that time, it was like, whoa, what do I do now? And I
And what?
miss the brotherhood more than anything.
Yeah. Yep. Did you so one thing I ask people and cuz this happened to me was did you have a moment where it hits you that you're not in the military anymore like cuz you just one day you're in, the next day you're out and you're just kind of nothing's really changed. But for me, it was actually a couple days after I got out, and I was shopping. I was just buying something, and I go to ring up at the cash register. They're like, "Are you military?" And my whole adult life, like, yeah, oh yeah, let me get that 10%, that discount. Uh, and then now I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm I'm just no, I'm not. That's the answer. So, and then I kind of realized like something has changed in my life. Like my status has changed when people, like if I go to the on base store or something now, and they're like, "Oh, are you active duty?" No. Okay, well, it's different now. You're not eligible for this. You're not eligible for that. We treat you differently because you're not active duty. Like yesterday I was, and you treated me one way, and now today I'm not. And you treat me a different way. I was like, okay, so things have changed, and I gotta get used to this new life. Did you have any moment like that where you kind of realized you weren't in it anymore?
Yeah, I had realization when I started working, and for us, it's like, okay, we got a job, let's get to it, let's get it done. And I feel like civilians don't have that sense of urgency. And then that's when it just hit me like, wow, I'm not in the military no more. They don't care. They're just gonna go at their own pace and do it when they feel like it. And like I still had that mentality of like, hey, there's a job, let's get it out the way. Let's not lollygag all day and drag it out and then try to do it a half hour before closing. So that was my moment right there.
Dude, nobody is on time for anything. That's one of the big ones that I've
Yep.
realized. Nobody's on time. It's like that's not a thing. Being on time is just not a thing. And
At
it's really
at
frustrating
all.
because I am big time punctual, and people just are not on board with that, and it's really crazy. Uh, I think there's been like with working with civilian people, especially in doing filmmaking.
Hmm.
There's like the time that you're supposed to be there, and then there's a 30-minute window afterwards where people kind of show up, uh, and
Yeah.
and nobody's early. That's for sure, and then nobody's surprised either. Like as you know, I guess that's just the way they've been doing it their whole lives, and everyone's on board with that program. So that was a big adjustment for me. That was a big one. Um, and so you're working. So I was looking at your credits, and you've
Hmm.
got credits that go back to 2012. Uh, so how did the acting stunts um, start? How did that start for you? How what was your first like kind of connection into that world?
It goes back to the guys that my friend that introduced me to help him out with that fight scene. After that, I still continued to work with the guys that were part of that, like their company or cinematic fight studio, and their business taught actors the basics of film fighting, how to react to hits, whether it be the face or body, how to sell a hit if you're the one throwing it, and how to take basic falls. And that's how I learned from them. And then through them, I met other stunt performers at Brooklyn Zoo in New York City, which is a gymnastics parkour place, and started to like roll up from there, like a snowball. Um, my first real stunt job was the TV show The Get Down on Netflix. It was my very first actual legit production stunt job, and it was fun. It was fun to really learn it, and then as time went on, and as I practiced more with other stunt performers in the indie circuit, that's how it helped with my reputation as a stunt performer. Like, okay, can he do this? Can he do that? One of the stigmas in the business is that big guys can't move, big guys can't do this. And I'm not sure if you see my videos, when people see that, like, oh snap, Rick is 6'4", he's able to throw these type of kicks.
Mm.
So that's what helps. Like when coordinators see, like, okay, he's a big guy, he can look tough and he can move. Yeah, we want to hire him.
Yeah, I have seen, I've seen, obviously when I met you, which
Mm.
was over a year ago now, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
Last
I
March.
went, I went and yep, I went and checked out your stuff. But just so people, just so people know, and your name, yeah, I'm gonna have your name. So if people want to look you up, I'll have it posted. But it's Ricky Barksdale, and your credits include uh, Glass, Black Panther, Uncut Gems is on here, The Get Down on Netflix, The Blacklist, Gotham, Luke Cage, The Enemy Within. You've got a lot of big credits. Um, do you have like a do you have an how do you get into these? Like, do you have an agent, or are there auditions, or is it reputation based,
Um,
or
it's reputation based more so. Like, for example, the way it works, let's say you're a coordinator, you call up a stunt guy that like, hey, do you know anybody that's 6'4", 210 that can do this? I go, yeah, Rick, you got his number, boom. You have my number now. You call me like, hey, Rick, these days? I say yes or no, and then that's how it works. And if you do a good job, especially depending on the coordinator, uh, you know, you'll get hired more. My very first big physical stunt was on Luke Cage season 2 when I took the car hit. It was my very first time doing something that big. And, in the filming, I was like, just go with it. Did it. Everybody loved it. And off of that alone, I ended up getting more work because I go, wow, you took a car hit, you know? Um, but it's definitely patient based more than anything. Those who do have agents, it would be like, like main big time stunt performers, like the people who Chris Hemsworth, Thor, like his double has an agent because of who he's doubling. So whenever Chris Hemsworth is working, his stunt double is going to be working no matter what. So once that level, then they get agents, for acting stuff and model, and, I'm sorry, print modeling, things like that.
do you do you think that, well, not do you think, but is there anything that being a veteran has helped you with in the stunt community? Or is there a veteran community in Hollywood that you've kind of found and been a part of?
Yeah, yeah, there actually is a veteran community, like a lot more than I ever thought there would be. Um, they actually have a company called Veterans for Television and Film, and like it is by vets for vets. So if you're to acting and modeling, so it's almost like a little index of like when people need somebody that is a veteran. So like a company will say, okay, we got to hire 10 to 15 veterans for this film. They would go to that particular database and look up, whoever it is that they would like for the role, whether it be just stunts or acting, and everything else in between.
Do you think your experience in the Army has been beneficial to what you're doing now?
Oh yes, oh yes. I think so. Like as far as the drive to do things and get the job done, it's most certainly helped aspect. In some ways, Hollywood is like the military. You got your early call time. You got to be there on time. If you're on time, you're late. So that means be there 30 to 15 to 30 minutes ahead.
Yep. Yep.
It's similar in some ways.
Yeah. Uh, I think obviously being on time is a big part of it. Another thing I would say is positive attitude. Uh,
Yes.
Positive attitude goes a long way, especially, and what I'm really getting at here is positive attitude when things aren't going well. So like I've seen people have meltdowns after working for like 3 hours straight, and they're like this is crazy. We can't work this 3 hours straight. It's hot. They haven't given us enough to eat. We need a 2 hour break. And then people get a lunch break that's supposed to be 30 minutes, but they take like an hour and a half. Coming from military background, you're like, is this real? Is this even a real thing? Or am I on punked right now? And then sure enough,
Yep.
it is a real thing. And then veterans obviously would never have that problem. So I could see getting a lot of callbacks, and kind of building a good reputation just based on that alone.
Oh yeah, like nobody likes a complainer. Like we're all in it together. So I bring that mentality. Like how many times have we been out in the field for like 20, 30 days, like this shit sucks, but you're in the suck together and making the best of it. I think the longest I've ever set was 16 hours, and that was a long day.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm still getting paid to do, so I'm not going to complain. Another time when I worked on the show FBI, we were out here. It's the middle of December. It is cold, and then the guy that I was doubling was killed, so I had to lay on the ground while they were filming certain scenes. Hey, I hated every second of it, but you know what? I'm a professional. So in between takes, me and the guy that I was laying down next to, we would just be cracking jokes about all of this. So
Oh
you
yeah,
like
dude.
the positive attitude does help, and it does look good for you.
Yeah, that's we learned that in the military is if you are able to crack a joke in those shitty moments, it makes all the difference. You sometimes
Yeah,
when things are really like the worst that they're gonna get, if you can laugh, it doesn't matter. You can get through it. If you can find a way to laugh about it, and
indeed.
that's always how I felt. Like when the worst things got, sometimes things were bad, and I could do nothing else but laugh. Like, come on, it's just how can this be what's happening right now?
Yeah, like
Uh,
we're ready here. Might as well make something of it.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Uh, do you what? Oh yeah. By the way, I just saw Uncut Gems like
Hmm.
3 days ago, and I loved it. It
Yeah,
was a great movie. Great job on that one. That movie was so good, so not what I was expecting. Uh,
yeah,
like from the previews and then watching it. First of all, the movie never stops. Like it just keeps you on your heels basically the entire time.
yep.
And it's like watching a train that's rattling off the tracks and it's wobbling further and further and like you think it's going to fall but it doesn't fall, but it just keeps going and going until the incredible crazy ending that it has. The movie was really good. So good job on
Yeah.
that one. That's a good credit to have for sure. That was awesome.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it was. If you'd have asked me if I was going to act in the scene with Adam Sandler, I would have said, "No, that's never going to happen." And here we are. Like when I got the call for this, it was like, "All right, I get to work with Adam Sandler." So you hear his name, you automatically think a comedy, right?
yeah,
So when I was filming with Adam, my buddy Victor, the other stunt performer, the weekend, and the other actress, you know, for us, it fit the scene. Like, okay, this is the Adam Sandler movie, and I got to curse at him, like, hey, get the F away from the door. And he curses back at me, which is fun. And so you think, okay, this is probably a comedy. So when I saw it in the theater, was like, I was like, whoa, this is an actual, like a real drama. And you're not used to
yeah.
seeing Adam Sandler in that role, but I think he did a phenomenal job. Like after I saw the movie, I was like, wow, he really did a great job.
Yep. Yeah, it was crazy. I had to like sit there, one of those movies where I had to sit there for like 5 minutes afterwards, just I don't know, thinking about it, like taking it all in what just happened. Because it never gave me a chance to reflect on what was going on because it moved so fast.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think I woke up the next morning, finally had like some clear thought on like what I had seen because I'm a big movie buff, and
Yeah.
and I loved it. I loved it, and I totally recommend it if you haven't seen it. Super good. So, do you see yourself doing more acting? Do you want to take on more roles?
Yeah, I'm open to it. I like doing stunts. I like to entertain people with physicality. For example, if you see a movie, an action movie, right, and the guy gets hit with something heavy or it looks like a bone breaking move. If I can make you cringe or say, "Oh my god," like if I can get that reaction out of you, then I feel like I've done my job. And I got that reaction when I doubled Mike Coulter on the TV show Evil, which is on a CBS All Access. That was the very first time I doubled an actor for entire, and the entire cast and crew is just amazing. But yeah, I did a stair fall, and I did it. I fell down the stairs, hit the ground. And then director's cut. I popped up, and everybody was like just going crazy in the back because like they saw me just bouncing off the stairs. And when I saw it, when that episode aired, some of my family and friends were kind of like, "Rick, are you okay? Did you hurt yourself?" I'm like, "No." It's like, "Oh my god, so devastating!" And it's like that's a reaction that I look for amongst the audience.
That's so. So with that being said, is there a secret to taking hits like that, or do you get in? Have you been injured? Does it hurt? Like, what's the deal
Honestly,
with that?
I've been I've been very, very blessed to not get hurt working on set. I've been, it
Good.
is scary. If you're not scared, then something's wrong. Scary because our bodies are not. Our natural instinct is to fight, self-preservation, to avoid injuries, to avoid anything that's detrimental. But I just put myself in the mentality, like, you know what, I'm here. I made it this far. Don't back out now. And when the hit and just fell down, I just, one of the things you always get head tucked in and always keep your hands above your head. So you're just naturally gonna roll. That's the goal, is to keep your arms above your head and keep your chin tucked in because you don't want to have your head like this and then you hit your back and boom, either snap your neck or crack your skull. Keeping your arms up, same thing. It protects the upper body, protects your head, just in case tucking your chin isn't enough. What made that particular fall difficult for me, I had my arm in a sling. I was really falling down the stairs with just one arm really protecting me. And the only thing that I took from that was a small scratch on my hand. That entire stair fall, just a small scratch, not a single bump or bruise. And of course, I do wear protection: my knee, shin, ankle, hip, back, shoulder, elbow. You always got to protect your body.
Yeah, because you can't just fall down a flight of stairs, maybe 3 or 4 times, and go without bumps and bruises. I think I hope people understand that acting is very physical. Like when people are really acting, when people are really doing stunts, those are it's it. Those things are really happening. Like people slap each other, people hit each other. Not on purpose. There's a way to hit, but people get hit all the time. People fall downstairs, people hit things pretty hard,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not nothing. It's not like you're not hitting the ground. You are. You're just doing it in a way that you can do it and not take any major injuries. But it is very physical. It's a very
Yes,
physical job.
yes, and that's why we need Oscars for stunts.
Oh yeah, let's go. Hashtag Oscars for stunts.
Yup.
Is that
um,
already a thing? Is that
yeah,
already a
it
hashtag?
is.
Is there already a
Mm-hmm.
thing? Okay.
Yeah. Now that's something that's they've been done long before I ever started this. But as a performer now, I see why. Like, we really do put our lives on the line for entertainment. Because
Yeah.
anything like they plan it out. And safety is the most important thing. But at any given time, anything can go wrong. And they've been trying to get the Oscars for such time. And the irony, especially after this last year's Oscars, I'm sorry, this recent Oscars, was when Brad Pitt won an Oscar for portraying man. So, like, you're saying we're good enough to win an Oscar by pretending to be a stuntman, but we're not good enough for an actual Oscar. So that was the inside joke going around the business. Like, okay. you can portray a stuntman and win an Oscar, but we can't get one ourselves. All right.
Yeah. Well, what comes to mind there is stuntmen, stunt women are I think just stuntmen as the kind of like human, like the stunt person is they're the unsung heroes of a movie because some of the most dramatic scenes in a movie involve stunts, and even if it's just like getting killed or falling or jumping or something like that. And I remember I've heard in the last couple of years some significant injuries to stunt actors. Like there was a woman who lost her arm filming Resident Evil or something, and then
Yes.
someone was and then did she die or was someone else killed after doing a stunt? Was it another
Um.
female?
Yes. No. 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 So that stunt woman. Um. Her first name is Olivia. I forgot her last name. So I don't know the full story, but from my understanding and what I read, it was one of those freak accidents that happened that I was just mentioning. The other stunt performer that was killed on The Walking Dead, John Bernecker. John Bernecker. It was again, he's done high falls his whole life. Since he was a performer, he's done these things, and the mat was just off by a couple inches, and he did his job, and then he just missed that part of the mat where his head would have been protected, and it's just such a shame, and that's the part of the business that people don't understand is that at the end of the day, a star performer can lose their life or a limb, doing what we love. You'll never hear a stunt performer say they hate their job. That's the God's honest truth. I love what I do. It is fun. And we don't do it for glory. We're not saying, hey, look at me. It was me that did it. Maybe amongst our family and friends. Yes. As far as the outside world, no, we're not in it for the fame. Because if you go into this business for the fame, you're gonna fail. But I feel the Oscars for star performers, past and present, who have lost their lives, like they deserve that. They deserve that recognition for what they do. Think of think of all Die Hard movies, right? All stunt heavy. Take away stunts from Die Hard. Would it really be what it is?
It would suck. It would be stupid.
Yeah. Same thing will Lethal.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, yeah, and when it comes down to it, you guys are putting yourselves at risk in harm's way where the actor wouldn't do or couldn't do for the entertainment of the audience, and because you love it, I think that deserves all the credit in the world, at least as much credit as anybody else is getting. And there's Oscars for. I didn't know that there wasn't Oscars for stunts. I'm just kind of, absorbing that right now. But there's Oscars for all kinds of stuff in the movie besides acting. So why isn't there for stunts? That's crazy.
I mean, that goes down to the whole, simply put, the old school mentality of the people who make these rules. Are part of the golden era, or like the end of the golden era. So they're still stuck in their ways of like, oh, we're just essential for a certain thing, so we don't deserve to be recognized. Now we do amongst the community. We do have our own award show called the Taurus Awards. So that's like our Oscars where we recognize the men and women who do what we do. But
Okay. Okay. Cool.
we
So
we deserve that one notch above.
I'm going to look up the Taurus Awards and kind of learn more about that. I remember when
Okay.
you and I were working on Jason's project out here in San Diego, and you were teaching Doug how to fight, how to throw the punch, and you were choreographing the fight scene. And what I'll do is I'll post a link to that trailer because that's the one that we did together, and that's on YouTube. So I'll post a link to that, and it came out
Hmm.
so good. It was so good, and you're one of the two main characters in that trailer. You and Doug are the two main screen time people, and it was awesome, dude. You did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And you do a great job in everything I've
Thank you,
seen.
man.
But I got to see you do that in person, so I got to see you run down the block 8 different times, probably like 2 miles of running for
Oh
a
man.
3-second shot or something,
Yeah.
And that's how it is. And I hope people realize the amount of work that goes in. And you're like, not only that, but they're like spraying you with fake sweat while you're out running on a hot day, just so it stays on there longer. So,
Yeah.
and those were long days too. I remember seeing a couple of the crew sleeping on the couches over at Jason's place while they were shooting some other scenes, and you flew out for that. And that was so cool, man. That was such a positive experience. And you definitely were a big part of why it was such a positive experience for me.
Yeah, thank you. It was great meeting you, and I've known Jason for about 4 or 5 years now, and I know he was a photographer. And then when he told me he wanted to get acting, I mean not acting, directing, and I was like, hey, if you have a project, I don't care about being paid. I just want to do it for you for free. And that's when he called me up like, hey, I got the ball rolling, and booked my flight out there, and the rest is history. I got to meet some wonderful people like you, Doug. I got to hang out with Jason. A couple of, like one of my friends had came up to hang out with me, and then she was a part of it. Michelle. Oh no, Michelle. Oh my God. Megan. What am I doing right now?
Oh yeah,
Megan.
yeah, yeah.
She was
Yep,
one of the
yep,
actresses for the scene that we had together.
yep. I remember
But
Megan.
yeah, it was a great time. It was my San Diego as well. So I got to meet great people, have great food, and I just overall had a time.
Yep, yep. I would love to extend the invitation out to Okinawa if you ever want to. If you ever want to come out to Okinawa, you've got a place to stay. We can go explore all your old favorite spots.
Don't play with my heart like that, because I'm telling you,
No,
once
no,
it's
I'm serious.
manifested, I will take that trip.
Okay, I would love that, dude. I would love to come out
Okay.
to Okinawa. We'll go hang out, do whatever you want to do, and we'll shoot a little scene out here,
Okay.
in Okinawa, and make it a whole thing. That'd be really fun.
Oh man, I would love that.
Cool, cool. So I got to ask you.
Yes.
I have to ask you. It's April 20th where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so April 19th, the evening of April 19th where you are, and you're in New York City. What's that like?
It's really hard it's empty. Think of a backwoods town, like, a small town, but like empty. And that's not work. A couple of weeks ago, before like the pandemic got as big as it did, me and my brother went out at night. He picked me up like around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, because I'm a high risk, so I really cannot take the chance of being around. And we did a photo shoot on Times Square, and I couldn't believe how empty it was. The only people that were there was me, my brother, a few cops, and like maybe 2 or 3 other photographers. And anybody that's watched the New Year's ball drop, you see how Times Square is, or just in
Yeah.
general, like whenever you see something on the news about New York, it's always packed, it's always busy, and New York just feels like a ghost town. It feels like a shell of its former self. The fortunate thing are the people not taking this serious. The reason why the COVID-19 keeps rising is because they're having parties thinking this is a joke. There's like what 7,000 people globally that's infected, hundreds of thousands that died, and they're just ruining it for everybody. Yes, we want life to go back to normal. We want to get back to what we're used to doing, but they're just like flat out disobeying the orders and not even willing to work with the people. Like, forget the government; they're not even willing to work with the people to like get ahead of this. So I really have no idea when this is going to be over.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't end up being over too soon. For the sake of people who are still at risk and are high risk cases. And I also think a lot of people are higher risk than they think. Like, I don't think people realize, people might think that they're good and they're just going to get over it, but that you don't know that that's true. Nobody should assume that that's true. People should be taking it very seriously, especially in highly congested cities, New York City being obviously the most that we have in the country, taking a huge hit right now, which is insane. And I don't know if you remember, but I'm from New York, actually. I'm from Poughkeepsie. So I would go down to the city pretty often. And so I'm familiar with the city and Times Square and everything. Like, to imagine it being empty is insane to me. I hope that you're being safe and your family's being safe out there. And I hope people are respecting other people with this whole thing. In Okinawa, we just got it. We just got COVID.
What? Just now?
Yeah, because and it sucks because we had there was a cruise ship. I don't know if you heard about this. There was a cruise ship that was being held out to sea off of the coast of Japan for a while, for a few weeks, and there was like some Americans on it. They were talking about bringing the Americans back to the States from that cruise ship, but that was like 2 months ago. But that cruise ship's last stop before being quarantined was Okinawa. So there was I think a cab driver got it, and maybe one other person, but they quarantined those people and they got rid of it. But then 2 weeks ago, there were some Japanese locals who were traveling somewhere else, and there was one lady who was at, I want to say, Osaka or something, and somewhere mainland, and she was being held for wait of results, and she wasn't supposed to travel, but she hopped on a bus, went to another airport, and flew into Okinawa, ended up being positive. So she brought a case in, and then some other people who were coming back from travel had it, and then a couple active duty people got it. So now we have it. Now the cases are increasing, and we have several hundred on the island right now. But the reason that that's so scary on Okinawa is, you might know this. I didn't know this. I just learned it. But do you know what a blue zone is in the world? What they call blue zones?
No.
So there are like 7 blue zones in the world, and it's where people live the longest, like the 7 places on the planet where the average age is like 90s for the population. And Okinawa happens to be one of them. They're all kind of islands, small communities where people kind of eat healthy. They have a slower lifestyle, and they keep relatively quiet. But that means that there's a giant population of, and you probably do know this, there's a huge population of elderly people on Okinawa that would just get really, really hurt by this if it starts spreading in their communities. So we have to be really careful right now, or else we're going to be seeing a whole generation get, wiped out.
Yeah, we don't want that. Like, that's not the way anybody should go. I really do wish this could have been contained better, but we are where we are, and I am confident things are going to get back to normal. I am confident that there are a bunch of scientists and doctors working as we talk, trying to figure out either for a cure or a vaccine for this. So, that's why I'm not letting it stress me out. I'm very cautious and very aware of it, but I also have confidence into the people that's appointed into making this, fixing this ordeal. Because too many people are scared, and I just hope things go back to normal for us.
Yeah, I do too. I can't wait for that, for things to go back to normal, but I hope that it's done the right way. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to rush it, or else you just start over. So another motto I live my life by is, if you don't have time to do it right, you better have time to do it twice. So if they don't want to, if they don't want to take the time, if they don't want to take the time now to do it right, you better have the time to start all over again and do it again. So I had to get your thoughts on that, because you're in the middle of the biggest outbreak in the United States. So
Yeah, in my neighborhood where I currently live, it's been actually the highest infection rate of the COVID-19. So now the only time I go outside now is just to go to the roof just to get some fresh air. Like I cannot take the chance of walking somebody who may or may not have been taking it serious and not wearing the PPEs, and I get it simply because I want to get some fresh air. So now I just go to my roof, just bake, sit in the sun for a little bit, some fresh air, and then I go back into my apartment.
yeah. What have you been doing to pass the time?
Working out. I work out. I try to stay on a steady routine. I do calisthenics, because the gyms are closed. I work out, read a book here and there, and watch TV and play video games. That's just the guy's honest truth. And it's like, this isn't
Yeah.
like me. I like being out. I like going places. I like being on the move. So being confined like this sucks. But
Yep.
it's almost like a deployment when you really look at it. So that's why it's not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, there's a lot of parallels, a lot. So, well, I'm glad to hear you're doing things. So I made this video yesterday. It was, so I have a buddy of mine who's a psychiatrist. I asked him if he wanted to come on a show and talk about some stuff, and he didn't want to go on. He didn't want to have a big social media thing. He doesn't have a big social media profile or anything like that. So he said he could share this article with me that's a psychologist in New York wrote, which was 25 tips for mental health during quarantine. And basically it was get up and have a normal day. Like get up, get dressed, take a shower, shave, work out, make food. Like don't just lay around, because you'll get that'll be where you really get, start going stir crazy, is if you start acting like you can't go outside. But you kind of have to go about your business like you would any other day, and find ways to occupy your time and find purpose in the whole thing. Like find something to do. If you've always wanted to draw or write music or something like that, come up with a hobby that you've maybe been thinking about trying. I know it's stressful for people. Like you have a family that I'm sure you are concerned about. People are stuck at home with a bunch of kids that they have to take care of, and kids are really struggling, I guess, from what I understand in this, because they don't get it. They don't really understand why they can't go outside, why they can't go back to school, why they have to follow all these rules. And I could see how that would be really scary for children as well.
Yes, yes.
But
I mean, my kids are loving it. My kids live with their mom, but they're loving it. Like, we don't have to go to school. Okay. So it's a piece of cake for them right now.
yeah, maybe it's worse for the parents. I told our friends of ours who have some kids, I told them, time to put your money where your mouth is with all that do your homework stuff, because you have to teach it now, So I hope you're
Yep.
ready to show up and get into the books and figure out some Common Core and some social studies.
One thing though, and I had said this a while back, I hope there's something good that comes out of this in regards to, I hope people are closer to, like, they're stuck with the families. I hope that they become closer together. And the most important thing, if anybody has a dream that they want to do, no matter what it is, I hope that they just actually go through some toll of this passes. Because this has taught us, like, we can't wait for tomorrow. We really can't. This, as quickly as it's here, it can be taken just as fast. And I hope that some type of good comes out of this for everybody.
Yeah, I love that. I love, actually, I hadn't really thought about that, but I love what you just said, because, and I'm just going to kind of reiterate it here in the way that I took it, which is, because it applies directly to me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me really hard just now. As bad as you want to do things right now that you can't do, remember that feeling when you're able to.
Yep.
Because it's easy to say, oh, I'm going to do that next week, I'm going to do that tomorrow. But right now, people are like, man, I really wish I could go do that thing. God, if I could just do that right now, that would be awesome. remember this feeling when this is all done, and go do it. Go get out and do it. Don't wait any longer. If you've got the time in the day, or you need to make the time in the day to go do these things, don't wait. If you just wait, you're just always going to wait. You're always going to procrastinate and put it off. You're always going to think that you're going to do it tomorrow, but it's never the tomorrow that you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. That's a really good perspective.
No. Like I love to work out, and for me, because I was training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a lot more, and like I don't need it. I'm getting my workout at the school, which is true. I am getting my workout, but the iron, nothing beats the iron.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I once this class is over, if I go to the gym, I'm gonna go.
Dude, I joke every day. I'm like, I'm giving my gains back one day at a time. Like it is driving me crazy. I've been running a lot, so we've been getting out and doing like 5-mile runs 3 or 4 times a week, or sprints on the track, which is on Cadena, which is cool. But but every day that you don't go out and lift weights and squat and bench and do all that, you lose it so fast. Like you work so hard to get to a certain point, and 6 months of work is gone in 3 weeks. You gotta gain it all back just to get back to where you were if you don't work out and don't lift for 3 weeks. So it's one of the toughest parts for sure, is the gyms being closed.
Do you go to Rise Gym?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yep. I love that gym.
Okay. Yeah, I love that gym. I miss it.
I love it.
Yeah, so like that's one thing I'm not going to take advantage of again. Like gym opens back up, I'm going to stick to my schedule Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the iron weight room.
Yep.
Because I am. Whew. But the thing is, like the New Year's resolution, once it does come back up, it's gonna be packed. It's gonna be like, oh my God.
Yep. No
I gotta
doubt
think about that part.
No doubt. There's no doubt about that. It is going to be insane. There's going to be lines at the gym. But that's, you know what? That's good too. Maybe some people get up and get active who normally wouldn't, and maybe they'll stick with it. Because, January 1st through 7th. So January 1st through 7th sucks, but January 8th through December 31st is normally fine. So you might have to deal with you might have to deal with some new resolutioners who are just going to give up in a few days, but then they'll get out of the way. They work themselves out of the equation.
I don't think so. Not this time around. This is completely different. This is like forced to stay home. The New Year's resolution is like they chose to stay home 7.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna have to switch to odd hours. Maybe odd hours at the gym would be the best way to do it.
Yep.
So we'll see.
I'm to find the 24-hour gym. I might be able to work out at night.
Yeah, seriously, that's true. Well, we'll see. We'll see when the time comes. But I think you're right that it's going to be crazy for sure. Oh man, the bench, it's going to be chest day for about 6 weeks probably.
Yep, chest days every day.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to try to go right for the squat racks. I got to squat. Like if I don't, I'm getting some chicken legs over here. I got to go get back under some weight. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I think for me, it's back squats. For you, it's deadlift. I'm sure everybody has a move that they're just going to go like get their fix right away. Like get a pump. Yep. Got to get a pump.
Yeah, I actually wanted to order me one of those Olympic bars and Olympic plates, but everything is sold out. It's like literally no matter where you go, any website, Amazon, you can go to the Olympic website itself. Like everything is sold.
I've actually heard of a lot of price gouging, unfortunately, going on right now with that.
Yeah, too.
So that is really shitty. Like if you're price gouging workout equipment right now, you suck big time.
Yeah.
It's
they're going crazy.
Yeah, it's like the guys who are hoarding sanitizer and toilet paper and stuff. Like, come on, man. We're all in this together. Like, give it a rest.
That doesn't need to have a cap on it. They need
Yeah.
to put a limit to people can do.
Yep. Yep. Totally. So let's see. What else did I want to? I wanted to ask you. I think probably got to wrap up soon, but I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
On another note of, did you have any anything you wanted to plug or give shout out to?
I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that's believed in me and what I do for day one. Definitely the guys from First Battalion Forces Group. I've got a goal to be in a film that will represent the guys that I served with. They, even though they're not active on social media like that, from time to time they'll just message me, to congratulate me on my small successes that I made. Of course, my family, my friends, and everybody else that I meet in this business. Like I glad I got the chance. You're an awesome guy. Look forward to seeing you again in the future. And and of course, got to plug in my school, Bronx Jiu Jitsu. Finding them was like finding a second family. And that's one thing as a veteran I always look for. Since getting out, I was looking for that bond, that brotherhood. And I feel like I found that with my school at Bronx Jiu Jitsu.
Okay, I'll throw a link to Bronx Jiu Jitsu in the description of this podcast, and I'm gonna check it out too. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. Hey, I'm really glad that I met you too. It's been really nice to talk with you. And what I'd like to do is do this again sometime soon, and maybe just talk. I'd like to do a whole episode talking about being on set and set stories and things like that. If that's something you'd be interested in.
Oh, of course.
Cool.
Of course.
Awesome. And so to quickly kind of recap, Ricky is an Army veteran, now crushing it as a stuntman, actor, working on major motion pictures. That's legit to say. You're working on major motion pictures. That is so cool, dude. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Like blockbusters.
It was a little bit of a blessing.
That is so cool.
Black Panther. I wanted to work on it, but they sent me back because real quick before we go, when I was working on Black Panther, there was film game on the other side of the lot. So when we got wrapped on Black Panther, because I was in Atlanta, I was like, hey, yo, just send me over here. We're already here. Like, nope, we got to go because they could only hire locals because it was filmed in Atlanta. So I was like, oh, man. It's like, I'm right here on the lot because the place that we filmed it was like 253 acres of land.
Wow.
Yeah. So that like, but I look at it like this. There's going to be more opportunities, especially once this stuff blows over and everything goes back to normal. And I'm just going to keep training. So, like they say, stay ready so you don't have to worry about getting ready.
Boom. There you go. There's another one. See, those things, honestly, those sayings are, I like them because they're short, they're applicable to almost everything. And if you keep them in your head and apply them to everything, you're going to go far. If you just remember those little mantras, they'll take you far. They have for me. That's for sure.
So it's all about the little. Everybody wants to do the leaps now. Like me, I'm taking it day by day. I don't worry about what I can control that's in front of me right now.
Yep. I always tell people, veterans, I'm like, dude, do you realize have you been listening to all the good advice you've been getting the whole time you were in the military? Like, people already told you how to be successful. You just weren't, if you don't know, you just weren't listening, You already learned all these lessons. Like, there's a lot to be learned just from boot camp, just from a deployment, just from working with these other guys. Like, I hope people were listening when they were getting all this good advice, because it applies throughout all of your life.
Yes, it does. It really does. Even if you don't consciously think about it, when you take that step, like, oh wow, like this is something I would have did in the military. I remember them teaching this to me in basic AIT, for you guys, A school.
Yeah.
my first unit and my last unit. So
Yep.
it really applies to you even if you don't realize it.
Yep. Totally. And we're always preaching that stuff here on the show. So, hey, thank you. It was great to see you, and I mean it. Come out to Okinawa. I would love to have you as a guest in Okinawa as soon as this whole thing blows over.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, man. I had a blast, and I look forward to doing this again with you.
Cool. Me too. All right, we'll do that soon.
All right. Have a good one, man.
All right, you too, Ricky. Bye.